I'm fucking happy about that. I don't give a shit. I don't need to have more. You know, it's about the people in front of you making that special. As long as those people care about what you're doing, that's all that matters.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Mr. Richard Dolan.
I think you're a great coach, first of all, because you care.
Let's give him a hand, huh?
Let's welcome my very good friend and now all of yours, Bron Studio, Google, all of you guys in the house. Let's give a warm welcome to my friend here, Steve Aoki. What's up, buddy?
What's up, guys?
How are you, big
Thanks for
fella?
having me. Appreciate it. Thank you.
You keeping well, man?
Yeah, you know, I actually am more busy at home than when I'm on the road, to be honest.
Well, I don't even know how you do it because you don't seem to be a man that rests, a man that stops, or a man that even catches a snooze or two.
I mean, when I'm on the road, it's just a different schedule because people understand and like my time zones are so switched up that it's like my priority is playing shows. And then like my second is obviously everything else. But when I'm home, then I have stacked meetings. Like my whole days are pretty much filled. I'm on the same time zone, reliable with doing stuff like this. It's allowed me to really venture outside of just, what my mainstay was for the last 15 years.
No, and listen, we got lots of ground to cover. And first and foremost, I want to acknowledge you, Steve. I know you've been busy. I've been in touch with you, especially since the pandemic started. And I know what it takes for you to carve off some time to be with me and our friends from Bron and Google, Legacy and friends around the world. Let's just start there then. Like what is it that you would judge a city by? What would be the markers or the milestones or the makeup for what would constitute a really great city to play in versus one not so great to play in?
Well, the energy for sure from the crowd. That's what I play so many shows. I was doing 250 shows on average every year for 15 years. Like there's 1 year I dropped down to 200 because I had the surgery. But besides that, I've just been consistently doing that many. But it's because every time I play, it's a brand new energy. And what I've realized, it's really zoning and connecting with certain people in the crowd that are giving me their full attention, that know the music, that are educated with what I've put out and have a feeling with it. They share their life experience in that moment. And when they kind of give themselves to that experience or be vulnerable to that experience, it's literally the best feeling in the world. But you compound that, with so many shows and so many different cultures. And I love the fact that I could play to so many different languages without having to necessarily speak the language. Like to be able to connect with people, to not even have, we're not even communicating like this, but we're so emotionally connected in that moment that it's like, that's why I'm alive. Like it's the most human feeling you can possibly feel is that connection. And like, I know that person traveled, waited, paid that money and waited in that front of that show and spent their time to get there and all that just to have that experience. Like, I know that feeling, I've been there. I'm that same kid feeling that. So it brings me back to that. And it brings me back to that kind of, that genuine kind of connection. And so I look for that whenever I play, wherever I play, I look for like that kind of genuine connection. And, at the end of the day, also, I love traveling to places that I've never been, being able to connect with people through music, to places that you would never expect. I love going to Tokyo. I love going to the places I always go to, but like going to Kathmandu and playing there. And I remember when I played there, it was, they said that only like two other artists, like international music artists played there. It was like Bryan Adams and Ryan Adams or Brian Adams, one of those guys, and Bruno Mars. So I was definitely one of the first DJs, if any, to do a big concert there. So that was incredible. Yeah.
That's cool. I've often said in conversations, and we've got lots of ground to cover, and I've got a real good surprise for you at the end. So hang in there. We're on our way. And I love you and the team, and of course, from Dougie, of course, and Matt. I mean, just grateful to the guys for being so amazing with us to get this done, Steve. But I've often said that confidence is borrowed, it's never owned as a performer, a speaker, an actor. And so when the audience generates it, when they create it, it causes you, it creates you. So the more hype the audience, the more hype you become, whether you're a speaker or an author or an actor or a musician in this particular case, a DJ as you are, and both of which you're respected as. Where did you learn that from? Do you feel that given who your dad was, and God bless him, given the performer he really was, do you feel it may have been learned, or is that in your DNA? What do you think, Steve?
100% learned. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, before I was a DJ, I was in bands. And, you know, when you're a 15-year-old kid and you're going to shows and, you know, like you see, I was going to hardcore shows. So when I was a kid, I was seeing like kids around my age that allowed me to feel like, hey, the barrier of entry to be on that stage is actually not so high where I can't do it. Like I remember going to see Michael Jackson, and, you know, he was a god. So like as a kid, I'm like, the aspirational goal to be on that stage is like impossible. Like Michael Jackson is like 1 in a billion. Like it's just like that's, you can't be there. You know, it's not accessible. But when I started going to these hardcore shows, and I'm like, literally it's 15 people in the crowd, and I'm one of them. I'm like the 15th person in the crowd, and like they're just having fun playing music and like just expressing themselves. You know, like it's not like you have to have singing lessons to go scream on a mic. So I got together with my friends. I'm like, hey, we could do the same thing too. Like we don't know how to play, we don't know instruments. We know this, but let's get together and let's start trading instruments. And that's what we did. I played bass, you know, I learned how to play bass, and then I switched off with my friend and played guitar. Then we switched off with a drummer. And soon, like I was able to record my first demo, playing all the instruments and singing a song and writing the music by the time I was 16. And then I was playing shows in living rooms in our like parents' houses, in front of like 5 of our friends, emulating what we would see at the shows that we would all go to. And that's where it started, to be able to play in front of 5 of your friends. And I would literally act like, you know, I'm like in a living room, like 5 friends. And then there's like parents in the background. And then I would be like, oh my God, we made it, guys. We did it. We got to the stage, you know, like making a speech, like I'm playing for like 1,000 people, you know, I'm like 5 of my friends. A legend in your mind. A legend in your mind. Before I would even play the show, I would tell them the lyrics. I'm like, listen, here's the lyrics for the song. I want you guys to sing along this part. But like, it's like role playing almost, you know, but in a kid, I wasn't role playing. But I was like literally role playing. Like, here's the lyrics. And when I sing, I want you to sing along. Like, you know how we do at the shows, right? So like, let's do it, you know? And then like, I would sing the part, like, okay, here's the breakdown, you know, the song, and the lyrics come out. And I'm like, all right, your turn, come on. And they like jump on me like as if we're in a show, and they grab the mic and sing. And like, I felt like I was a singer on the stage. I'm like, oh man, that feeling is so good. I love it. And I goes from 5 to, you know, literally 6 to 10, you know, like, I mean, these shows are small, like at the most 30 people it'd be like massive show. But Steve, as you're doing that, and I can see you coming to life as a result of experiencing being alive, because for those who research you and watch your documentary on Netflix and understand your family's history, and you're not just a son, you're not just a brother, your mother is legendary, your sister is epic, your brother's amazing. I mean, aside from all the things one can learn about you, in that period of time, do you feel that you didn't need anyone to tell you to go do it, go get it, good job? Or did you get addicted? Did you get obsessed with, or did you get attached to that sensation of feeling alive given those shows you were doing? I think honestly, for me, it wasn't about anyone kind of guiding me. It was more about the mutual respect from the community. So for me, that community was my friends. We would see the shows, and the best part of the community that I was part of is that you get your cool points, you get your respect, not from like wearing like the most expensive sneakers or riding in on like the most high-tech bike or like flaunting, you know, like whatever it is, like the most expensive t-shirt or whatever it is that you're wearing. It's about your contribution, you know, like it's just a small scene that everyone that contributes that's meaningful to what we do. It's almost like a religion. We're like knocking door to door, like telling people about what we do. Literally, that's how you get your cool points. That's how you get your respect. So what do? If you're in this small scene of like a few people, you write a zine, you interview bands, you go to shows, you take pictures, you put them you go to the Kinko's copy and you make a cool little pamphlet and you share that, and you share like the community, what you're doing. You make music, you make a demo, you like screen print t-shirts. Like it's like all in the culture. Like I remember like at the same time I was making a demo for my band and making music, I was in my mom's closet screen printing my own shirts that I was buying at thrift stores for $1 and selling for like $4 at the shows. We flip the shirts inside out and then screen print on the inside, and then the actual old, vintage shirts on the, then you have a brand new shirt, but it's upside down, but no one gives a shit. You know what I mean? $4. Make $3, you know what I mean? So like, that's how it starts. And like, it's cool. It's like people want to wear the inside out shirt because you just saw this band and you like the band. And like, the more you contribute, the more you're respected. And then you want to contribute more, and being young is a perfect time because you don't have the gripes of real life struggle of like trying to pay rent and all the other stuff that you have to deal with when you're older. This is a time to explore, time to try all these different things. And your friend group is such a big part of that. So that's big for me.
I love that you're sharing it. And, for those who are just tuning in and hanging out, this is Steve Aoki, one of the world's most incredible, most talented, professional expertise, cake throwing, music taunting man, dear friend. Thanks so much, Steve. Hey, listen, as you talk about respect and you understand the importance of feedback from friends, it would appear as though, and I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but you as Steve Aoki, not just the musical legend and a creative force, your creativity also finds its way in other places. Someone can actually say that in 2012, while you were the highest grossing musical dance DJ in North America, you were also very successful, what people don't realize, in the record producer business and in the innovation business. And as we look at you right now, entering a different stage in your career, you still remain a quite creative force. Is it being creative that drives you and keeps you alive, or is it wanting to remain relevant in the circles that you're in? Which of the Steves gets the better of you?
I think it's a combination for sure. Like you always want to have relevance. I mean, the thing is, that's one thing I've seen through, at least in the music space, there's artists 10 years ago that I thought were impenetrable, that were gods, to me. I mean, they still are, personally, out of preference. But, a few years later, they're gone. You see that happen time and time again.
But why do you think, Steve, not to interrupt you because I love you, but why? Yeah. Why do you think that is? How is it that they're gods today, making massive imprints? I mean, burning into young souls, and I know likely, but why is it that they just disappear like that? Why would you think they come out of that expression?
The thing about music and artists in the space is that there's no roadmap. Like you just create, and also you're a predictor. You have to predict, and if you predict well, you'll be relevant. If you predict, and it's like, if I make music today for today and I put it out later, I'm dated. And if I do that too many times, just like in life, you do that too many times, people they move on. There's so many options out there, period. Music's essentially free. So it's not like you have to subscribe to it. If you like it, you feel it, you go with it, And if artists are consistent, like the Post Malones and the Drakes and the Weekends and artists like that are just consistently hitting the mark and driving the culture in the direction that they're predicting, it's like they're going to be culturally relevant. You know what I mean? So for me, it's like my job personally as an artist to always, I have to think forward, but there's a lot of artists in the case that we're talking about that they don't there's no roadmap, right? So they're like, I want to go way over here because I want to. And there's no reason there's no books that don't do that. At the end of the day, a lot of these artists, they don't necessarily care if people follow them. They're like, we're going to go regardless, like a Radiohead or something like that. There's just kind of be like, we're a commercial. We're just going to go boom this way. And then all of a sudden they're, I'm not saying radio, but like some artists, their fan base gets smaller and smaller, and it's just like meant for a small group of people. That's all they really want, but they're not necessarily commercially relevant, you know? So I think that's what happens to some artists. But for me, it's like, thankfully I'm touring so much, and the crowds and the shows and the global culture of music has really informed me, which has allowed my music to become more global, you know, which has allowed me to think like, okay, I want to create a bridge with K-pop. I want to create a bridge with Korea. I want to create a bridge with Latin music. I want to create a bridge with different cultures in a way that compounds our efforts into something much greater, you know, and that's a true love. It's like, I hear something different. Like I remember I was in South Africa and I was in a cab and the driver was playing something that I've never heard before. And I was like, we got to the destination. I'm like, no, let's keep going. I need to like soak it in. You know, I think that's a really important thing, is being present in the moment. I'm so lucky to be able to tour what I was, that like every time that I could hear something or feel something or experience something new, if I'm not present in the moment, I miss the opportunity, because they're all fleeting. They happen so fast and you could miss it and it's like gone. Like, it's like, oh, that's what the normal state of affairs in the area that I'm in. And they don't think anything twice of it. They're like, oh yeah, we listen to this stuff, or we do this stuff. I'm brand new. These virgin eyes and virgin ears are like soaking it in. So I have to always remember, hey, I'm always a student. I'm always here to learn. It's allowed me to actually become more creative and more expansive. And that's a really great feeling, to be able to connect. Like, if you could make it, like I remember when I did the record with BTS, the Mic Drop remix, we hit Billboard charts on that first remix. It was the first K-pop record to hit a Billboard chart. Well, it wasn't expected on that level, you know, but like these kinds of things can happen when you do something that's like, whoa, we haven't heard like these two worlds coming together, and then boom, you know, and if it doesn't happen, it's okay. That's not my goal. My goal is just to make a fantastic song to me in the heart. And if I can feel it, if it makes me gives me the chills, I want other people to feel like, can you feel that too? You know what I mean? Like, you just want to be like, can you feel it too? And if they're like, yo, I feel it too, I'm like, all right, sweet. And then like, once they feel it too, there's like the double chills. It's like, we connect on a more extraordinary level because we both feel something brand new together. And that's why I go back to the shows, because I see it firsthand. You know, I'm the cook in the kitchen making the food, and most of the time, and the cakes, and most of the times the cooks don't get to see the people eating their food. You know, like I get to watch people eat the food, like, yo, this shit's good. You know, like, oh, sweet. You know, like I get to experience it with them. So like, I feel very lucky.
No, man, I love it. I know. Listen, but between Goosebumps and Virgin Eyes, whatever you do in your spare time and behind closed doors, that's your business. I mean, that's not this kind of show there, Steve. But with all kidding aside, you know, you said a few things that I want to segue, because this is gold. This is amazing. And this is a really wonderful journey into a really nice conversation we're going to have, which will leave you wanting more. But you said the word predictor. You said the word true love. And if there's something about predictor, it would appear to me, Steve, is that as long as you're creating and you're serving the world with all the love you've got and all the affection you have for it, it allows it to constantly remain conscious to what it would take to create more love. You're always constantly creating, so you can always and constantly create love, which is found in your connection, whether it's music and such. Would you agree with that estimate?
Absolutely. I mean, it's like, you love what you do, you want to keep doing it. If you do it well, you definitely are going to keep doing it. At the end of the day, we all want to be quality service to people around us. That's, you know, whatever we do, we want to provide quality service.
Right. No, absolutely.
You know, that's like, it doesn't matter what you do. You want to, like, whatever you put out there, you want people to like feel what they're supposed to feel from it, you know?
Right.
And if it's extraordinary, then, you know, of course, in the end, yeah, you'll make money. But like, if you put that in the front, it's like, that's the wrong approach, right? So you just have to you have to provide the best service that you can, that to the people that you're the demo, like target your audience and understand that. And, you know, like, just like in anything I'm doing, even in the music space, it's like this music is meant for meant for a scene. Like I make a record specifically for festivals or the dance club, the dance floors. And that's where I push that. I make a record that's more for streaming or more for this, then we target them, So,
it's it sounds like knowing your audience. I didn't mean to speak on top of you, buddy, but it sounds like just really know your audience and give them what they're looking for. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's just, and momentum is what you're talking about, like follow your love and keeping with that flow. Momentum's everything. Flow is a very real thing. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it when you're in the studio. Like sometimes I'm in the studio for days and I can't I just keep like banging my head against the computer. I just can't, nothing comes out. That happens when you're just locked out and you have to completely reset and you have to do a cold plunge or whatever, which is what I like to do before a studio session. Just I have a bathtub outside, I fill it with ice and sit in it for 5 minutes and just like get my endorphins exploding in my brain and come out super energized. It's definitely a life hack for sure. Crazy life hack.
And you share them all the time. I mean, you share a lot of the hacks. I mean, your passions for trading cards and Pokemon and your passion for family and staying connected to all those you love and cold baths. I mean, right now at this stage in your career, what are some of the things that you really are locked in on that is preserving and protecting your genius, your creativity, your passion for life, and your ability to predict the future? What are some of the hacks you can share with us aside from the ice bath?
I think, in general, because I've been home, I've been able to practice what I've always wanted to do on a consistent basis. Is just meditate every day. I try to do twice a day if I can, but meditate. I do the ice baths once a week. Do breath work every other day at least. The Wim Hof method, which is a great app to follow. It's you just follow his breath. And you'd be surprised how long you can hold your breath. There's a lot of benefits on that. I just started doing NAD like 2 years ago. So like I do NAD IVs just to power your cells, reduce inflammation. A lot of the just it's not necessarily for creativity, it's just for overall health and wellness. I've been really focusing a lot more on that since I've been home and exploring that and learning more about that. And I have a foundation, a charitable foundation, Aoki Foundation, which is focused on raising money and awareness for the human brain and all orgs that support the human brain. Any org that wants to advance the human brain, optimize the human brain, find cures for the human brain, all things brain. It's actually, the foundation has been, for a personal journey for me, it's been to be able to talk to these scientists and these researchers and sit in rooms where I'm finding out about breakthroughs before anyone finds out about them. It's some science fiction shit happening. It's fucking crazy shit happening.
Totally.
And it's so crazy that the Iron Man, people, there's $1 billion industry on science fiction. Iron Man, the Avengers, all this stuff. It's all based on our imagination of what we want to become. And a lot of those things are actually happening now, like telekinesis, the idea to move things with your mind. I'm not, when I say that, I am dead serious. People can move things with their mind now. 5-6 years ago. Do you know how?
No, I'm trying to move myself right now with my mind.
Okay. It's formatted. Because when you think of telekinesis, you're like Magneto, and you're just like things are like his mouse is moving up. No, you have augmented technology, you have AI in the brain, especially with people that can't move, people that are paralyzed. I saw the research. It's been out there. Like you can look it up. They have AI connected to their brain, and fact check me on this. They think something over and over again, and they're sitting there and they're thinking it, and the chair moves forward. Their chair moves forward. They're able to move, like they want to bring like a food to them. So they're able to bring like this like robotic mechanism that brings food to their mouth. That's moving with your mind to the point where they can move things 5,000 miles away. They had someone that had AI technology in their brain, and they thought about moving something, in, let's say, I forgot where it was, like Italy to California. And they're in Italy And in Italy, there's like moving the arm from left to right without saying it because they're using Wi-Fi. That's fucking talking. That's the fucking science fiction shit right there, man. That's like, people don't realize, like, they're like, oh yeah, but really, that's science fiction shit that needs to be talked about. There needs to be more money, more eyeballs, more attention, and just more money into the space. And more eyeballs means younger people are going to start growing up. I want to be a scientist. I want to do research on figuring out how to cure brain disease, Parkinson's, dementia, all this stuff that's happening. And I want to learn how to, get to the next level of being a human species. How do we evolve to become the next level human species? Talk about things that are crazy, that actually we could actually go from science fiction to science fact.
Between you talking about Iron Man and Avengers, and I can see you right now on a stage and you're zapping the audience with cakes, just like there's just cakes coming from everywhere. But, Steve, it's amazing the work that you're doing with the Steve Aoki Foundation and really wanting to enhance and empower and embolden research in science and insights on human brain improvement and human brain wellness. What I love is that you're a living demonstration of it. When did you start really recognizing that your health and your wellness and your relationship to meditation and breathing was important for just who you were as a human being? Was there a moment that you had an aha? Was there a breakdown or a moment you said, I got to really start taking care of myself? Or was it just a eureka?
I had vocal cord surgery 6 years ago, 2015. Because like I said, going back to when I was at the beginning, I used to be in a band. I used to like scream on a microphone. And I didn't know how to do that. Like everything I've done has been like unconventionally or non-traditionally taught. So I learned the hard way, or I didn't learn traditionally in a lot of the scopes of music, especially singing. I would just yell on the mic and like get crazy. But I destroyed my vocal cords. And then, as I translated over to DJing, and then I was hyping the crowd, and you're yelling like, everybody jump, like whatever it is, you're yelling all the time. And I just destroyed my vocal cords. So to the point where the doctor saw them, and I had a raspy voice forever. Like, I was just like, I can't get rid of this raspy voice. He's like, yeah, well, you have a huge nodule. You have to cut it off. So like, in order to cut it off, you can't talk for a month. Like, think about not talking for like a few hours or a day.
Oh my God.
You can't talk for a month.
People would probably be grateful if I couldn't talk for a day. But anyway, that must have been horrible for you for a month.
Okay. So even before then, before I committed to it, I actually saw a life coach, like a coach to like mentally prepare me. I was freaked out. I was like, what if I fall into some weird like depression hole and I can't like speak it out of existence? Or if I get stuck and I'm like, I feel trapped because you want to use your voice to get out, like I didn't want to do it. I was like, oh, fuck it. I'll just have a raspy voice forever. I don't care. Yeah. And I just, eventually, obviously I did it. And during that time, I want to be productive. Like whatever I'm doing, I'm very productive. My whole pie chart of my day, my time management. The only way I could do all the things I do is I have a really great time management and I have really great team management. So when I was during this time, I couldn't talk. There's a lot of things I couldn't do. So I was like, okay, time to learn some new skills. And one of which was meditation. I was like, this is great. So then I hired a TM coach. I was like, this might be the great the first pathway into meditation. And she came over for a week and we did meditation for hours every day, until the point where, just like anything, you practice a habit over and over and over and over and over again. Then, what I want to do is I want to get to the point where it's no longer a crutch, and, it'll get there. Just, you have to that 2 weeks of weirdness of trying something new over and over again, where you don't want to do it. You just keep pushing it. I just did that with this wonderful lady. And then I just started practicing without her. Like, she took the training wheels off and pushed me down the street. And then I was like, this is fantastic. This is incredible. And then I started, I want to know the science behind it, not just how I feel, because how you feel could be, placebo. I want to know if there's real changes in my brain waves and my patterns. So I talked to some scientists and looked at I actually brain map my brain when I'm meditating. And I looked at some other research, and it's clearly scientifically shows a real change in your brain. It's not just what, people say, oh yeah, you're just sitting there. Like, actually, it really has benefits to your brain. It's not just like you feel rested. Like I want beyond that. You know what I mean? I always want to have that information. Then it actually helps my placebo effect even more if there is one. But but that was a big point. And then, obviously the rest trickled out.
But you see that right now. I mean, one of my good friends who I think we both share is Deepak Chopra, and Deepak was on me forever about getting grounded. And I said, dude, I grew up and out of the household not to get grounded. He goes, no, my friend, not that kind of grounded. And he would tell me about getting grounded. And you recently had a post where you were literally in the middle of somewhere just sitting on earth. And that was really the embodiment of what it means to get grounded. Do you practice that on a daily basis as well, given where you travel and how often you do?
Like, take the shoes off and walk around, feel the earth.
Yeah.
I try. I mean, it's very easy to do it when you're in Europe. I mean, like, especially for me, when I tour, for some reason, I don't know, maybe my management or agent is nice to me, I always end up playing in some like amazing island or something. So like, I'm always like on sand or the beach or something, like walking around. So it's like, when I'm playing shows, I got to put the shoes on though.
I'm rounding out the time that we've gotten, and recently I was able to sit down with your team, and we did a Google assessment on you, and we were able to summons thoughts, insights, and perspectives about just who Steve's been, where you are, and where you're heading. Many things were said about you. One of the things that stood out for me was Steve is the athlete of music. He's the athlete of music because the way you perform and the manner in which you deliver your performance is quite athletic. Others, though, which was very intriguing, was you were one of the most courageous performers of our time, willing to reinvent himself and his approach to being creative. And I found that one to be the most amazing because, I mean, you're working on film projects. Your team is busy reinventing and reapplying your brand, your association, your endorsement across many industries. What haven't you done that you're dying to get to, given the stage of your career you've now arrived in, my friend?
All right. Well, I've learned my lesson, and I never like to really share the real things that are really going to happen. Okay. Because it's the most beautiful thing is with some of the stuff is like as a surprise, unless like it's like it's going to drop, like some of the biggest kind of kabooms of introducing something have been like the way it's supposed to be, right on the fly.
Well, here.
But I have some like amazing stuff. Of course, I always have like something,
No, it's true. It's true. You're hyper creative. Like, you're uber creative. You're always creating. You're always looking at angles. And I mean, that's just my personal experience of you, which is why I've come to both now love and admire you. Is like you're always looking. You're always looking at the future. Let me give you a kaboom. Here's one of the observations that our team has made, and one of which is and for everyone watching this, I'm now going to go on record for saying something that Steve doesn't know I'm about to say, and it's this. It's not difficult to find Steve historically to have been considered a bit of an introvert, perhaps shy. Yeah, Steve, would you agree with that assessment? No, when you were growing up, when you were young.
Yeah, definitely shy. I mean, I wouldn't say an introvert, but I was kind of a forced introvert.
Force introvert. Fantastic. Those are your words. Because I know Steve's watching what I'm saying very carefully. So
go ahead.
But here's what's cool. You have been seen as and considered as the real champion and ambassador for young people and those struggling to find their voice or to find their truth, whether it's a mission or a calling or a problem in the world to solve, because it's now appearing. And this is not something that you can just create. You can't will this. You have, by demonstration, said everything is possible. You can get through it all. It's never too late to learn, and it's never too late to try something different, as long as you're connected to a real truth, which is bigger than you. And so the idea that's been floated is, what if Steve became like this global ambassador for all people, not just young people, but all people, that you can watch him here, speak here, or he's doing this, where he's really inspiring people to find their true north, the means for being here, or the reason to continue through. Does that intimidate you or light you up?
Okay, one thing I want to say is that, like, I agree with you on the fact of finding your truth for sure, only because that's when I first found my voice. You know, when we're talking about when I was a kid, when I first found my voice, it was the most powerful experience probably I've ever felt, even to this day, because I didn't think I had a voice. You know, when I was a kid, like growing up, I didn't want to speak up. Yes, I was very quiet, because if I did say something, it just fell on deaf ears, or I think more mentally, I felt like it did. You know, that's the thing. It's like, whether it did or not, maybe I'm sure people heard. But as a kid, I was like, no one's going to listen to me. No one's going to care what I think. I don't have something special to offer. When I found my friend group, they all kind of felt the same way. And we're like, we don't really care anymore if anyone hears. Let's just yell together, you know? And then, like, I see other, you know, the great things, I saw other bands that made me feel that, like, hey, they're just like expressing. There's no genius in it. There's no, like, I can't do that. It's too difficult. Like, I won't be there. That's what's important, is that it's actually very accessible to just express. It's free to express. The tools may be expensive if you want to express at the larger scale, but you have tools that are also right in front of you to express. And that's the thing that I learned then, and that the idea of doing anything is possible is, yes, that is true, but you have to be realistic about what is possible at that time in your life. You know, you can't just be like, I'm going to be up there. Anything is possible. And you're like, here. It takes time to get there. I never expected to be there. I never said, like, I want to be there. I never said I want to be there. I just want to be where I am in a realistic way, in front of 5 people. I'm fucking happy about that. I don't give a shit. I don't need to have more. You know, it's like, it's about the people in front of you making that special. As long as those people care about what you're doing, that's all that matters. If it's one person, I remember playing shows that we're on this US tour. We're driving, we're playing literally to 10 to 25 people every show, it was $5 a head. One show we made literally $20. We drove 10 hours to New Mexico, played in front of like 8 people, ended up like talking to all of them after the show. We just ended up hanging out, and we ended up sleeping on their couch. And like, I got to know everyone there. Well, all hung out, but like, it wasn't a bad show to me. I was like, all right, let's do it again. I
hate interrupting you because you're the celebrity, but you may have hit the nail in the head, as we've only got a few minutes left, because I'm respectful of your time and the things you got to get to, like a nice bath and a meditation and all the other cool things you've got going on. But brother, right there might be it. I feel like the world's got an obsession about results, and it's got an obsession about more, and it's got an obsession about the score, and it's got an obsession about money and really, you know, getting really big. But it feels like what you just said was, hey, the results, no matter how you measured them, if you only looked at how much money we made, that was one thing. But look at the experience. Look at the 10-hour drive. Look at the time we got to meet people. What would you call that? Because that obviously kept you going. Why was that so more important, obviously? I
don't know what to call it. It's just life. It's just like that. I just prefer that. You know, at the end of the day, you prefer that. I think you'll have a higher quality of life. You'll have a like higher quality of life, because as long as you love what you do, and you just can't have like success all the time. You can't think like this. Like, you can't think everything is a success. You know, like, if it's not a success, it's a failure. Oh my God. Like, it's like majority. I mean, if you really consider on that scale of numbers game, you're 99% failure then, you know. It's like, I mean, I don't want to call it failure. It's just like, those aren't failures. They're you know, that's the problem if you keep judging based on, that's the problem with like Instagram and social media, you know, where you end up comparing yourself to someone else doing the same thing, but they have more. And you're like, wait, but I'm saying this, I'm doing the same thing. Like, why does this person have more? Like, why does this person have more engagement or whatnot? I'm practically saying the same thing or doing the same thing. And it's like, you just got to keep doing you, keep the blinders on. I think it's important to look, you do your research of what's out there. It's really important to do that, but you don't want to get sucked into it and then fall into the toxicity of it, you know?
Well, and that brings me to wrap this up. One of the things that you said a lot, you said, just be present. If there's one thing that if anyone were to ask me, so talking to Steve Aoki, what was he all really about? What kept him going? I would say that I think he discovered his voice and it rocked his world. That when he did, he just became committed in that minute, in that instant, as young as he was, to say, I want to live a life where my voice can constantly be heard by at least me. Because if I know my voice matters, and to me first and only, and that's all it could matter to, regardless of my insy outsy shirts for $4 with a $3 lift, or the fact that I'm sleeping on a couch or meeting 5 people or making only $20 per show, as long as I get what matters most to me, then I'm living a purposeful and present life. Would that be a fair assessment, brother?
Yes, definitely. That's great.
Well, look, man, you're inspiring for that reason. So, for me, knowing that you're an incredible artist feels like you're coming into like a second coming. Analysts, analytics, and some of the infographics I've been receiving on our assessment that we did many moons ago with Doug, your team. One of the cool things is that the audience that you once performed for years ago is growing, but you're growing with them. And that's a lot about commitment. So in the final few moments that we've got, tell us what matters most to Steve Aoki at this stage of his life. What right now would you say is your mantra, your mission? This is what I'm about right now, and this is what I can now vocalize, verbalize, put in words. This is my battle cry. This is what I stand for. What would it be, brother?
I don't know if I have like this strong stance. I know that I'm adaptable. That's what I've learned. I'm definitely adaptable, just through like business and life, and especially during this time, a complete flip of what my life used to be, where I always considered the road. Like that's the most important thing. When I was touring at the level I was, you have to look at the being on tour as your home. Like mentally, that's my home. If you can't do that, you can't tour like that. It's actually a very difficult thing to say. When you come home, that's not your home. Kind of a trip. I would come home and like not treat it like a home. I would treat it like, oh, that's like, I'm on vacation. I got to go back, I know we're digressing here, but like, I just want you to really think about that. It's crazy. Like, it's hard for me to think like that now. Like, I'm at home. I love being home now. I'm a homebody. Like, I never really leave my house. I love being here. It's
no, and dude, we saw that during the pandemic. It was the greatest pandemic in 104 years of recorded history, and you look like you had a blast at home. I built like my dream home. Like, I'm like, okay, I've made some money, so this is how I want to spend it. I want to build a foam pit in my house. I have a racquetball court. I don't play racquetball. I was like, we're going to dig a ditch in the racquetball court, destroy it. Whoever buys this house after, they're not going to have a racquetball court. I built this huge trampoline in there. I built this rising thing, right? A riser, so I can jump into the foam. I'm like, this is my life now. No one else is judging me. I don't give a shit. I'm going to fucking spend money how I want to in my own home. Like build a ledge so I could jump into my pool. I actually had another pool. I filled it up. I built another pool so it's closer to my house so I could jump in from the top. I love this shit. Like, this is going back to what you said. I think one of the big takeaways for me, when you say, what is your stance? The first thing in my head is to say that I've become more free with my music. I've become more experimental with my sounds. I'm not structured as far as making music for very specific things that I did before. It was very structured before, very structured. I had a full schedule. I would be touring. I come home, which isn't my home, but it's not my home. It's my studio. I come home to work, to finish my projects, my album, my EPs, my songs, whatever. Now it's like I'm freeform. I'm making meditation music. I'm making all kinds of different kind of shit out there. Like I am just free. You're unhinged. Incredible. You're untethered.
I'm not releasing this stuff. Some of the stuff I'm releasing actually under different names now. I'm releasing music under different names. I don't want them to know it's me until like if it pops or something, because I want it to stand on its own, because it doesn't sound like the Steve Aoki music people know. So you might be listening to something that's mine and you don't even know.
You don't even know.
Which I think is kind of cool.
It is cool, man. And that's the thing about you. And that's, from YOLO and the whole crew. I mean, you're untethered, you're unhinged. I mean, you are one of the most compassionate people I've gotten to talk to over the time I've known you, who's not creative, not just a genius, but you actually really care. I have to say, and a lot of people here know this of me, I've had the privilege and the blessing to interview a lot of people. And of course, before that, I talked to them from time to time, but you are the most present of them all when I've talked to. And we could be talking about trading cards or what's going to happen with the Michael Jordan this or what's going on with that. But dude, you are one of the most connected, compassionate, and caring people I've come to meet and know, man. And this world is an amazing place because of that.
Thank you.
It really, really is. What are you working on now that we should have people excited about to look forward to? You got music in front of you. You got beats you're working on. What you got going on?
Yeah, I'm dropping a single tomorrow. If we're going to do the plug.
No way.
Yeah, I got to drop a single. Today's Thursday, right?
Today is Thursday.
Yeah, so I'm dropping a brand new single. Faruko is an amazing, amazing singer.
Is there a taste of it? Is there a taste of it within reach there? Is there a little?
It's on I play a little of my story because I did a DJ set in the desert. To nobody. It's kind of cool. So Faruko he's a legend in the Latin space. He crushes. So I have that record coming out. For anyone that cares about NFTs, I have my next NFT collection. I haven't even announced it yet, but that's dropping this month. So that's one thing I could share. That's like a debut right here on the Richard Dolan Show.
Oh boy. Well, let me get in there first.
It's epic. It's amazing.
So in 30 seconds, explain to people, because you got a lot of writers, authors, film people, as you know, technologists, market leaders here. An NFT, how would you explain it, Steve?
It's a digital asset. It's digital art, essentially, or non-fungible means it's, actually, I don't even know what fungible technical term is, but
it can't be edited or indoctrinated. It's solid as a state of art. Yeah. Yeah.
So that alone says what it is. It's a digital, what Richard said. It's basically like this. Let me explain. People have a hard time understanding this. Let's talk about like the Banksy print. I sold for 10 million, right? Whatever. There's a Banksy piece I sold for 10 million. The more people have this print and know about the print, it actually makes that Banksy print even more valuable. Let's talk about Mona Lisa. Everyone knows Mona Lisa, right? So obviously, it's one of one piece that everyone knows about. It's actually really small. It's crazy how small this piece is, but everyone knows about it, which creates this value of what that is, because it's all what we value it, what the market values it. Digital is the future. There's 100%, it's 100% inevitable, in my opinion, that we'll all go digital. NFTs are just like a piece of the digital space that we're going into.
Yeah.
If you think about kids now that play Fortnite, millions upon millions of kids that play Fortnite, they buy skins. They buy skins to run around the game and show off to people they don't even know. They're like, I'm going to spend $20 on this like red vest cool thing, and I'm going to run around, and like a bunch of people I play with that don't even know me are going to see it, and I'm going to see it. And I spent $20 on that, and there's millions of people spending $20 on that. It's $1 billion industry just for that. That's like an NFT. That's like the first kind of evolution of what NFTs are. But now NFTs are these pieces that are part of history or part of culture, have a value to people. And I really believe anyone that's jumping in NFTs are early. I know that it's like this and it's like this, but everything's like this, and it's going to go up like this again, but it's not going anywhere. But it's not going to go crashing to nothing. It's like, yes, it's going to go down, but just like life, it's going to go up when people climb in again. It's just how it is, how the world goes. It doesn't ever go like this.
Well, whether you realize this or not, aside from being an investor and being on the front line, you're one of the co-authors of this new chapter. And in conclusion, here's what I'll say. I think NFTs, or whether it's crypto or whether it's trading cards, I think that the way in which wealth is defined and created and saved by the future generations, like X, Y, Z millennial, is being redefined right now. And because you're an ambassador for the culture of that, the cause for that, I think that's going to be an asset class worth investing in, because we all now are learning from our generation, Steve, and younger, we are realizing that money's only worth the value we assign it. So it's like, well, where do I want to put my money? The old generation was, hey, this Rolex might be worth something.
Right.
But my son at 14 says, man, I got $20,000 worth of skins. I know I can flip for 60 G's. Right. I mean, so on it goes. So I just want to say that, without distracting the conversation, we can talk forever because you're just that kind of a guy, but I want to honor your time. Steve, you're such a majestic man. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for all that you're doing, what you're sharing, from your music to incredible film, to what you're doing and sharing about your family, to your journey as you continue to reinvent who you are and apply your influence. But more importantly, just the way you're now living life on your terms and no one else's.
Thank you.
Please keep being who you are, man, because you're lighting up a lot of people by observation as we all follow you. Is that fair?
Thank you, Richard. Thank you. Appreciate that.
I appreciate you too, man. So listen, until I see you again, I want to wish you the very best. And I want to thank everybody for being here. We appreciate you, Steve. Of course, if there's anything you need, I'm a phone call away. If it's financial, call YOLO. I'm just totally kidding. I love you, buddy. You be well. I'll see you soon. Okay,
thanks,
man?
guys. Thank you so much.
Be well. Good luck tomorrow on the drop. This has been Richard Dolan with Steve Aoki on A Courageous Conversation, folks. And we're going to get started on doing something really epic for him, thanks to Bron Studios and Google. But more on that another time, because as he likes it and he'll say it, let's keep it a secret until it's real. So on that note, go be great, guys. Thank you so much. Be well.